Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Farrah Arif. Thank you for inviting me over the conclave. I have 20 plus years of academic experience. I'm a Commonwealth Scholar, PhD from the University of Cambridge, certified trainer from Harvard University, and I'm also an associate fellow of the Higher Education Academy UK. In 2018, I founded EdTechWorks with the hope to become the catalyst in imparting high quality, interactive, and gamified education experience for scaling up. And perhaps that's the reason that you have invited me today over this conclave. And of course, I'm going to talk about journey from conventional to digital, but in the context of academic institutions. In the business environment of today, a common behavior that has accompanied the fourth industrial revolution of technology is digital transformation. And there is no doubt about it. With the emergence of this term and its processes, there has been a shift in business practices, organizational cultures, and custom services as well. Academic institutes, and if you can call it academic industry, is not an exception. It is also undergoing the same change. But we have to evaluate whether the academic industry is also following the practices, the organizational culture, and the customer services that they should be following in the changing times. New and upcoming businesses in EdTech, which is the education technology industry, that are solely based on increasing its digital footprint are testament of the changing times. But what does this mean? Digital transformation is the integration of digital technology into all areas of a business, fundamentally changing how an organization operates and delivers value to customers. And I find that academic institutes find it very, very difficult to change all their fundamental areas. Digital transformation is a continual change that takes place internally as well as externally, shifting a company's core by challenging the traditional and embracing experimenting with the new. Here again, the challenge is to embrace the new, and how well the academic institutions are. That's a big debate that needs to be done. Digital transformation, through digital transformation, there are some industries in comparison to others that are more conducive to this change. Research shows that on the consumer side of things, digital is increasing gradually in all categories. And as I said, EdTech is not an exception. It is happening in education industry as well. But let's talk about consumers for a while. Consumers behavior differently in digital space. So when you think of students, in the social media versus their academic classroom environment, they behave differently. Perhaps digital media is born digital, classroom is traditional, though we have, provided the laptops, we have provided the smartphones, but still it is not a born digital environment. It's still traditional. And of course, social media is entertainment. And in a classroom, you're talking about education, which is not that entertaining for students. That might be one of the reasons that the consumers behave differently in digital space. So the adoption of the social media is very quick as compared to the adoption of edtech, especially in Pakistan. And we have shared the figures with you, how the social media has penetrated in Pakistan as compared to edtech. And one of the reasons would be the change in behavior of consumers. Before I move forward, I would like to share two examples with you. One is of the General Electric, which is a traditional company, and the other is Apple, which is a digital native company. Now, when you look at General Electric, it has introduced a separate business unit in 2018, which was developed with an aim to centralize all its IT operations. Now, it was developed to convert the company's large machinery and operations into a cloud-based solution, software solution. The transformation has delivered higher productivity, no doubt about it. It has shortened the manufacturing cycles and reduced the machine downtime. But the whole strategy had a very clear and very simple part, and that was cost saving and value creation. Now, when you look at the behavior of the digital native company, it is very different. So digital natives run their businesses on a system based on pure belief. Digital offers opportunities on which enterprises have to gamble in ways that don't necessarily have to be experimental in nature. So it's more of the entrepreneurial nature of the digital companies, digital native companies rather. The belief system and the gut of the leader that the digital enterprise values, this is something which is not seen in the traditional environment. So Apple's belief system is to deliver a unique experience, customer experience, keep on experimenting by controlling even the granular aspects of their product. Now look at our academic institutions. Are they behaving like a traditional environment or are they behaving like a native, digital native environment? Now, if they are behaving in a traditional environment, then of course they will be talking about the cost of saving, but less of the value creation. But if they are behaving in a digital native environment, then they would be doing more experiments. Customer focus would be the utmost importance for them. Okay, so let's talk about some characteristics of digital native companies. To be a digital native company is to accept the fact that the change is constant. So they're not gonna stay for the, they will not be idle for the change. Actually, they will embrace the change. Building a business on the foundations of digital transformation is just the first step of understanding for them. So they'll keep on developing their businesses on digital transformation. To be a truly digital native, one has to be consistently keep changing, innovating, and finding new ways to create, operate, and communicate. And they will continuously change themselves. Now look at the academic institutions around you. Are they digital native? I have my doubts. Now, digital, just to say that these are digital companies is not enough. We have to look into, we have to deep dive into this, that what do they entail? Digital is the ability to disrupt. They disrupt. Disruptive force of technology is killing off older companies earlier and at a faster rate than before. It is not happening in Pakistan as of today, but any digital native institute will have the capacity to disrupt the existing universities and the colleges and the schools in Pakistan. This disruption is based on innovation, especially on adapting to and encouraging the new. And this new is something which is not just the jargon, but the belief system. And the institutions who would start believing in this, the new, they will only be able to disrupt the industry. Digital transformation is not merely about technology, and this is something which is very, very critical, and most of the people confuse it. It is also about shedding outdated processes while paving the way for new innovative ways of thinking, working, and operating. And I repeat, for new innovative ways of thinking, working, and operating. Let me give you an example of Khan Academy. Everybody knows about it. Yes, Khan Academy is a disruptive force and it is a digital native company. It was not existing in a traditional classroom. It started off online. So it is truly a digital native environment. But at the same time, digital is fragile. So what does this mean? In the fast changing world of work, companies today, in the world of ever evolving digital capabilities, operate on thin lines. So, for example, coronavirus days, we have seen that many companies have to shut down schools and colleges, they had to shut down. So, they operate on thin lines because the world is changing so rapidly. So, agility should be an important pillar in an organization's working environment, then, because even if you are digital, you will remain fragile, but agility will save you. And agility means being able to work quickly and ensure that your company, employees, and all stakeholders involved are focusing on the right activities at the right time. And for academic institutions, it becomes a Herculean task that it's not only just their admin staff, their teachers, parents, students, they all need to be on the same wavelength. Now, story of Pakistani academic institutions pre and COVID days is very interesting. We have seen that when COVID arrived in Pakistan, none of the universities were prepared for COVID, which means that none of the universities were digitally transformed. Uh, some of them have done a good job. They tried to digitally transform themselves, but the opinion and the views of the students are not great. They're not happy with the experience that the digital transformation is giving to them. So they are still asking for the in person experience. And I'm not blaming students for that, but rather I am asking that whether we have created the environment, which was, of course, cannot 100% replace the in person experience, but at least satisfy your customers to a greater extent. So we are still lacking in creating that environment. So what does that environment mean? That environment means that the teachers should be fully trained with the digital tools. The exam system needs to be changed. How can you put the typical exam on the digital platform? Of course, it will backfire. It won't help you. So the whole examination system needs to be changed when you go online and when you say that we are digitally transformed. The thinking that you were having previously in engaging with students, that needs to be changed altogether, because now you are digitally transformed, so your thinking needs to be transformed as well. So there are some keys, I believe there's some key points. So let's talk about this. COVID has shown the world something that the education industry should be planning, beforehand. We need to shift to more adaptable, agile solutions that are fully digitally enabled. The virus-like situation that we are facing right now has merely underlined the urgency of digital transformation in academia. This needs to result in real plans of action rather than debate. So anytime, any other thing will happen. So will we go under the lockdown? So academic institutions, they need to think about it. Now, given the absolute need for digital transformation at an accelerated rate, what institutions can do to make things simpler and to embark this digital transformation journey? Create a digital thread from admission to evaluations and assessments. Some universities, colleges have done it, but majority have not yet even reached to the beginning to the beginning level. Find education platforms that are digitally native and will enable the choice, flexibility, and personalization that you need. And this personalization is very neat. But for that, you need education partners. Ensure you have the right digital tools to manage your educational processes, checkpoints, and classroom management, school management. It's time to throw away any spreadsheets and rely on a holistic digital platform. I know this sounds daunting task, but this is something that we cannot ignore now. find alternatives to scale up to reach every nook and corner of the country, like mobile educational vans or data bundle packages. In EdTech Works, we have tried to come up with a technology that help the academic institutions to overcome the challenges that they were facing with the COVID days. As you can see on the screen, we tried to bring everything on the same screen, from chatbot to uploads to the content library. Even Zoom is integrated into the platform, and the with the hope that the journey of the user, the journey of the teacher, the journey of the administrator will be simpler. And of course, at the back end, we have provided various tools to the teachers, to the administration, to make their journey as well as the journey of the students simpler. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.